In the world of football, there is a common saying that records are made to be broken. In such a fast-changing sport, a better team, manager and player is often just around the corner to create new records and set new standards. This rings especially true in the English Premier League, which attracts the best talent from all around the globe. But there are some achievements that have stood the daunting test of time in the English game, and perhaps the biggest one belongs to North London club Arsenal. In the 2003-2004 Premier League season, under the guidance of legendary French manager Arsene Wenger, Arsenal played an entire 38-game Premier League season without recording a single loss. An unprecedented achievement yet to be repeated till today. Here's the story of one of football's greatest ever teams. In September 1996, it was announced that French manager Arsene Wenger would be the new manager of London Giants Arsenal. This decision came at a time where foreign ministers did not have the best track record managing clubs in the upper half of the Premier League. Wenger's methods weren't initially welcomed by the English media and people around Highbury, as he made wholesale changes to the nutrition and training methods of the Arsenal players, and introduced a more foreign culture to the club's day-to-day operations. However, Wenger's methods quickly began to bear fruit on the pitch. The club won the double in just his second season in charge, beating Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United side to the Premier League title by just a point. Fueled by a new rival in town, Sir Alex Ferguson and United fought back against Wenger's Arsenal, claiming 3 straight titles between 1998 and 2001. Despite losing out on the title for 3 years straight, Arsenal was slowly in the process of building a formidable team. They wrestled the title back off the hands of United in the 2001-2002 season and won the title at United Stadium, with a strong core consisting of players like Patrick Vieira, Ashley Cole, Thierry Henry, and Robert Perez. In the 2002-2003 season, they again lost the league to Manchester United, finishing 5 points behind Ferguson's men. Going into the 2003-2004 season, there was a fire in the belly of Arsenal's star players, fueled by the disappointment of losing the title to United the year before. The rivalry between the two clubs was at a boiling point, and the last few meetings between the clubs had been feisty affairs. There was also a new player in the field, as Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich had bought London rivals Chelsea, and they posed a significant threat to Arsenal and United's duopoly of the title. Ahead of the 03-04 season, Arsenal signed Spanish winger Jose Antonio Reyes from Sevilla for £20 million, and German goalkeeper Jens Lehmann from Borussia Dortmund, 2 players that would play vital roles in the Gunners' season. Like he had done in previous seasons, Wenger used a 4-4-2 formation for most of the season. New signing Jens Lehmann took over the starting goalkeeper role behind a back 4 of Ashley Cole, Lauren, and the centre-back pairing of Sol Campbell and Kolo Touré. In midfield, Wenger relied on captain Patrick Vieira and Brazilian Gilberto Silva, who were flanked by wide players Robert Perez and Freddie Ljungberg, and the attack was spearheaded by duo Dennis Bergkamp and Thierry Henry. Wenger knew it would be a tough season for the Gunners, but he came prepared. The season kicked off in difficult circumstances, as centre-back Sol Campbell was sent off in the opening minutes at home to Everton. But Arsenal won the game 2-1, through goals from French duo Thierry Henry and Robert Perez. The Gunners showed incredible fight and resilience to avoid defeat, a theme that would carry on for the rest of the campaign. Arsenal followed their tough opening day victory with 3 wins over Middlesbrough, Aston Villa and Manchester City, putting them top of the table with a perfect 12 points from 12. The Gunners' first draw of the season came in their 5th game away to Portsmouth, with an Henry penalty cancelling the opening goal from Portsmouth striker Teddy Sheringham. Up next was a game against bitter rivals Manchester United at Old Trafford. Tensions were high all game, and United threatened to score a few times through striker Ruud van Nistelrooy. The tensions boiled over late in the game as Arsenal captain Patrick Vieira was sent off after a confrontation with Van Nistelrooy. The United striker would miss a golden chance to win the game for United with the final kick of the contest, hitting the crossbar from a penalty in extra time, and another brawl followed between both sets of players at full time, a common occurrences in games between these two teams in the early 2000s. The draw put Arsenal top of the league after 5 games played, a point ahead of United and 2 above Claudio Ranieri's Chelsea. Arsenal's demanding run of fixtures rolled on with games against Newcastle, Liverpool and Chelsea following their trip to Old Trafford. but Wenger's men continued to grind out results with a 3-2 win over Newcastle at Highbury and 2-1 wins at Anfield and at home to Chelsea. But in typical fashion, United remained hot on their heels, winning their own games and staying within a point of Arsenal with 9 games played. On matchday 10, however, in not so typical fashion, both United and Arsenal dropped points in the same weekend. After Arsenal failed to beat Charlton Athletic and United lost 3-1 to Fulham, Arsenal retained top spot heading into November, but were now just a point ahead of Chelsea in second place. Arsenal kicked off November looking to hold on to first place. A trip to Elland Road to face Leeds United was next on the calendar. A Thierry Henry brace helped the Gunners to a 4-1 win ahead of the North London derby against arch-rivals Spurs. Arsenal were overwhelming favourites heading into the derby against Spurs as their rivals were winless at Highbury in a decade. Arsenal went behind early to a goal from Darren Anderton and struggled to equalise. But again, it was the late show at Highbury, as late goals from Robert Pires and Freddie Ljungberg gave them a narrow 2-1 win. Arsenal won their 4th straight match of November away to Birmingham, creating a new record by remaining 13 games unbeaten at the start of a Premier League season. Arsenal created a host of chances but couldn't manage a goal in a 0-0 draw at Highbury to Fulham at the end of November, which saw the Gunners drop to second place on the table after 14 games following Chelsea's victory over Manchester United. Further low-scoring draws against Leicester and Bolton Wanderers threatened to derail Arsenal's title charge, leaving the Gunners with 3 draws in 4 games. A convincing 3-0 win at Highbury against Wolves put the Gunners back on track, thanks to goals from Patrick Vieira and a double from Thierry Henry. And a win against Southampton rounded up the 2003 for the Gunners, who had now gone half the season unbeaten. Although persistent draws to sides lower in the table left them in second place behind a resurgent Manchester United side. Arsenal began 2004 with yet another draw, this time to Everton, with Kanu's strike cancelled out by a late goal from Everton's Radzinski. Back-to-back wins against Middlesbrough and Aston Villa got them back on track in the title race, and on top of the league table heading into February. Arsenal began to create a strong grip on first place as the season drew closer to the end. With just 1 win from 4 games in February, United began to show cracks, while Arsenal remained in imperious form, starting with a 2-1 win over Manchester City at Highbury. Goals from Dennis Bergkamp, Thierry Henry and Kolo Touré led them to a 3-1 win over Wolves, and another Henry double made light work of Southampton. Heading into the last game of February, Arsenal faced Chelsea at Stamford Bridge with a significant gap building between the Gunners and their 2 chasers. Chelsea took an early lead after just 27 seconds through winger Adia Gudjohnsen, but Arsenal quickly equalised with Patrick Vieira drawing them level to make it 1-1. Arsenal took the lead a few minutes later through Edu Gaspar and held on for the rest of the game to win a decisive 3 points in the title race. The win put the Gunners 7 points clear at the top of the table with 26 games played. A 2-1 win over Charlton at the end of February extended their lead at the top to 9 points, and Wenger's men were now firm favourites to be crowned league champions. Heading into the final 3 months of the season, Arsenal were in the driving seat, and talks of an Invincibles season had begun to ramp up in the media, although manager Arsene Wenger downplayed the possibility in his press conferences. Arsenal's good form carried on into the month of March with a 2-0 win over Blackburn Rovers, thanks to goals from star men Pires and Thierry Henry. A 2-1 win against Bolton Wanderers the next week brought the Gunners' winning run to 9 games and maintained their 9-point lead at the summit of the table, ahead of the visit of arch-rivals Manchester United to Highbury. Manchester United were seen as the biggest threat remaining to Arsenal's Invincibles season, and they came to Highbury needing a win to keep any hopes of catching the high-flying Gunners in the league table. As was often the case when these 2 sides met, the game was a cagey affair, with few chances for either side. Both sides came close to breaking the deadlock through Djemba and Jose Antonio Reyes. The game's first goal finally came through a moment of Thierry Henry magic, as he scored a great goal from long range. But Arsenal couldn't hang on to their lead, and United striker Louis Saha equalised after a wave of United pressure. The game ended as a 1-1 tie, a result which heavily favoured Arsenal, and United manager Sir Alex even called the result no good for his side, as they failed to cut down their points deficit on the Gunners. Following the draw against United, up next on the agenda was another tough hurdle in the form of the visit of Steven Gerrard and Liverpool to Highbury. Liverpool took an early lead through centre-back Sami Hyypiä, and despite Henry drawing Arsenal level on the hour mark, Arsenal went behind again before half-time after a tidy finish from Michael Owen. Arsenal responded brilliantly in the second half thanks to a goal from Robert Pires and a goal of the season contender from Thierry Henry. Another Henry goal in the 78th minute completed his hat-trick and earned Arsenal a hard-fought 4-2 victory. The Gunners now had a 5-point lead heading into the final 7 games of the season, and the finish line was in sight for Wenger's men. After a 0-0 draw away to Newcastle, Arsenal returned to Highbury to face Leeds United on a night Arsenal fans remember fondly for the magnificent display of striker Thierry Henry. Closest chasers, Chelsea were on a streak of 3 winless games, and the match against Leeds was a chance for the Gunners to place one hand firmly on the title. Arsenal took an early lead through Robert Pires, giving way to what was the Henry show for the rest of the game. The French striker scored 4 goals past Leeds in a scintillating display, which manager Arsene Wenger described as one of the best he'd ever seen. Following Chelsea and United's patchy form, Arsenal went into the North London derby at the home of arch-rivals Tottenham Hotspur, knowing that a draw would be enough for them to win the title. Tottenham came into the game determined to stop the Gunners from winning the league at their ground, but they could do little to withstand the early Gunners' pressure. Goals from captain Patrick Vieira and Robert Pires put the Gunners 2-0 up in the first half. A second half fight back from Spurs saw them draw the game level. The 2-2 draw was enough to earn Wenger's men the Premier League medal, and they celebrated their title win at the stadium of their rivals. With 34 games played and heading into the month of May, Arsenal were officially champions, but had one more huge objective for the season: finishing the campaign unbeaten and becoming the first Invincibles in Premier League's history. Standing in their way next was a game against Birmingham City. With the title already won, the Gunners put up a timid display which saw them draw the game 0-0. Another draw followed the next week away to Portsmouth. With the game tied at 1-1, Portsmouth striker Yakubu had a great chance to win the game and end Arsenal's hope of an invincible season. But his effort was well saved by Jens Lehmann. A 1-0 win away to Fulham left the Gunners with just one more game left in the league season. Goals from Thierry Henry and Patrick Vieira gave the Gunners a 2-1 win on the final day of the season. Their record for the campaign stood at 26 wins, 12 draws and 0 defeats, and made them the first English team in over a century to go a whole season unbeaten, a record still yet to be repeated in the modern era. The Gunners were given a golden Premier League trophy to signify their achievement, and they ended the campaign with 90 points, 11 ahead of nearest challengers Chelsea. This marked the peak of Arsene Wenger's career in management, and he often referred to them as his best ever team. It was also a special season for striker Thierry Henry, as the Frenchman took home the Golden Boot with 30 Premier League goals, and also won the Premier League Player of the Season. A few teams have lost just one game in a Premier League season, like 2004-2005 Chelsea and 2018-2019 Liverpool, but none have gone invincible like Wenger's men. That's it for this video. Do you believe the invincible Gunners are the greatest team in Premier League history? As always, let us know your thoughts below and don't forget to like and subscribe. Till next time.